There we go. It is June 9th. Moving right along here. I'm starting to get corona hair again. It looks like I need a haircut.
I just had one this morning.
This, this is my mirror for the day.
That works.
Mine's scheduled for tomorrow. Yeah.
All right. Well, I just wrapped up a marathon webinar. I thought I was going to have like an hour between shows, but not so much. Thing just went on and on and on and on.
Who were you serving this morning?
I was actually doing a webinar for the new release of the YouTube version of SitePop.
Oh.
So now, as far as, and this is a good learning lesson too, finding an influencer, I connected with an influencer that just released a software that people that are interested in YouTube could create their own videos very easily and optimize the videos and automatically load them up to YouTube. So if you think about it, this is a perfect back-end product for their front-end product. So what they did was they did their launch last week. They got everybody they could in to purchase their product. And then what do? They say, now that you've got the first step, this goes to timeline. Once you've taken somebody down the timeline and got them what they wanted an easy way to make videos, right? To promote their business. So they provided that piece, took them down the timeline, gave them the result they were looking for. Now they have an easy way to make videos. So in the timeline, what's next? Now they want people to see the videos, right? So who do they bring in but me?
Yay.
To make sure that I can provide that next timeline. Now, they'll probably bring in other people after me to provide the next timeline and the next one and the next one. And that's what successful marketers do. They identify the timeline and they're not afraid to hand the people off at the right time to create extra additional revenue. And with your stuff, you should be doing the same thing. Look at when you deliver your product, your first product, that's a front end offer. First product's always your front end. Front ends can be small, front ends can be big. It doesn't matter. The front end, it's the first sale. You change the relationship fundamentally. You change it from a prospect to a customer. Once you've changed the relationship, the difference between prospects and customers is prospects are not buying. Customers are buying. They've proved that they buy. So your goal is to separate the herd because you don't want a flock of prospects. You need a flock of prospects to separate the herd. So you can't sidestep getting prospects. But your goal, your job is to get as big a pot of prospects as possible, separate the herd and find out who's the customers. And you do that with a front end offer. So a lot of times people have a low front end offer and that's perfectly fine. It could be like, the $7 shipping on a free book, right? I know you've all seen that. The job isn't really to sell them a book, right? The book is just a sham. All it is it's just to get them to open their wallet. It's to shift the mentality of prospect to customer. Because once somebody buys something, the odds of them making another purchase from you goes absolutely through the roof. Your odds go up exponentially after they've made a purchase. Your odds of making or getting a purchase out of a prospect never goes up exponentially. So you're going to have probably hundreds, if not thousands of prospects that will never buy anything for whatever reason. But once you separate them out and you figure out which ones do buy, Now you've got momentum. Now you've got forward motion. And those people, they're buying to fill a timeline. They're buying because you grabbed their attention, you created demand and desire, you eliminated objections, and you made an offer. You turned them from a prospect into a customer. Now, it doesn't matter how big your pot of prospects are, you're not going to convert all of them to customers. So at some point, you have to be willing to let go. You have to focus your efforts where your efforts make the most sense. And that might be separating the herd, giving up on the ones that didn't make the purchase, and going back to the drawing board to fill the pipeline with a new prospect so you can do it again. Right? But if you continue to focus your effort on a pot of people that are non-movable, that's the kiss of death. You have to know when to let go. It's like that Kenny Rogers song, got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away and know when to run. So there's a lot of wisdom in that song for business owners. And and it's not a bad thing either. It's separating the herd as a part of the process. Well, and again, that was what this guy did. He separated the herd. The only ones that he brought in front of me were the ones that already purchased from him. He didn't bring in his whole audience. Why would he want to bring his whole audience to something, to sell them something that they didn't have the precursor thing to get the benefit out of it, right? He wouldn't want to do that. I don't blame him. And for me, do you think I want to make a pitch to his pot of people that don't buy shit? No, I want the buyers. I would rather have 10 buyers. I would rather make a presentation to 10 buyers than 1,000 prospects. My odds are better. So anyway, something to think about. And that's what you want to constantly be on the lookout for if you don't want to work hard. If you want to work hard, then that's a different conversation. But if you want to take the easy road, start looking for who is making front end sales that you can provide the back end to, because they're going to do all the work. Think about it. This guy spent a bunch of time, a bunch of money. He created a large prospect group. He filtered them out. He got the buyers. He separated the herd, and he dropped them at my feet. Right? How hard was it for me to show up and do my thing to a group of buyers? How hard was that for me to work? Now,
John, I was just on a presentation where the guy was saying, first thing he said, which I thought was kind of interesting, he says, forget the lifetime value of your customers. What you need to focus on is the 1 year value of your customer. So he's grabbing the reins and pulling it in a little tighter. And the next thing he said is, do not worry about prospects or opt-ins. Worry about the guy that will pay $1 or will put any amount of money on a card for any little thing. Give him $100 thing for $1. But if you get him to put that buck in, you now have a customer and no prospects. So
that's
you're
right.
feeding right into that.
That's absolutely right. The only thing that I would look at differently is it's good to look at the 1 year value. And the reason it's good to look at the 1 year value is because you want to know when your ROI is going to kick in. You need to know how much can you afford to acquire a customer. And in some cases, if you can't get the ROI out of a year, then you might be focused on the wrong target audience. So looking at it in that segment, that's a good thing. But I would never, ever forget lifetime value. I mean, saying that lifetime value is not important is very short-sighted.
I think he was trying to make an impression, which he did, but you're absolutely right. The lifetime value is key. But if you can't, like you just pointed out exactly why you want to check that 1 year value so that you know exactly what you can spend. Otherwise, lifetime value, if it takes you too long to get the ROI, you may not be around long enough.
Yeah, exactly. But it all kind of segments back to the very first piece of the puzzle, was making sure you have a profitable market segment. And that's, that is a key importance to all of this. Because if you don't have a profitable market segment, even your 1 year ROI might not recover what it costs to acquire the customer. And nobody wants to wait a year to make a profit, right? Even though it's not a bad thing. Let's say you had a customer and their 1 year value was $10,000. And let's say it cost you $10,000 to acquire the customer. So you're going to be a break even at the end of a year, and you got to put 10 grand on the front of it, right? Let's just imagine that was our scenario. We couldn't answer the question of, does that make sense? Is that going to be worthwhile, unless we factor the lifetime value? Now, if our lifetime value is 100,000 in the next 4 or 5 years, then it might be worth it. A lot of people don't have the money, though, to invest $10,000 in a customer to get the 50 or 60,000 back in 5 years. But if I knew that to be true in the investment world, would you put $10,000 in to get $50,000 back in 5 years?
All day long.
Yeah. I mean,
all day long.
That's like a dream scenario for any investor. The question is, do you believe enough in yourself to invest in yourself to get the result? Because, you got to deliver. For you to get the 5 year value, for you to maintain that lifetime value, you got to show up. You have to deliver the goods. Otherwise, they're going to move on and your lifetime value is going to go to the bottom. So there's a lot to it. It's a big puzzle. There's a lot of things to consider. The obvious thing is to look for, and it's funny, I just talked about this on the webinar. I talked about looking for in business. One of the key factors to being profitable in business is finding something of very low cost that's automated, that is very high value. And I used the SitePop software as a perfect example. I said, this is what business owners are doing. This is what agencies are doing. They're buying the agency package, and it's $197 a month for 50 projects that you could resell. So here's the low cost thing. Here's the low cost entry to a business. You have a service that costs you $4 a month. You can resell it all day long below market value at $97. If you sold all 50 projects, you're just under $5,000 a month for a total cost of $197 a month. That is a very low cost thing that is very high value, is a perfect example of what a real business owner is looking for. And it's automated. So very low touch point to get maximum return. I mean, think about that. If you set up 50 people and you're bringing in $5,000 a month, it's costing you $197. What do you want to do next month? Set up another 50 people. Now it's costing you, $400 a month, and you're getting 10,000 in the door. And these are recurring customers. This is lifetime value customers. It's acquire them once and they pay you over and over and over. So what are we going to want to do month 3? right? Maybe get another 50. And now we're paying out $600 a month and we're bringing in 15,000 a month. It's simple math and it's scalable. The only thing that's not, well, it's all scalable, including the amount of work to bring them in. But what you do, a really good business owner, this is not an employee. This is not somebody that's just creating a job for themselves. This is like a Ray Kroc. He would spend his entire first 2 or 3 months building the process for how did he get those 50 customers and how can he get his ass out of the process, right? So he's creating a sales funnel that works. He's creating, what's he doing? Grab attention, create demand and desire, eliminate objections, and make an offer. He's building a marketing campaign. And he's going to automate it. Then he drops it into Kartra. Imagine if Ray Kroc had Kartra. I mean, think about it. If he could have plopped his marketing into something like Kartra and walked away and automated it, he wouldn't have even had to deal with employees. The biggest part of his challenge was, how do you deal with people? You know, lots of people. Takes a shitload of people to run a worldwide network of burger flippers, right? And keeping the burgers flipped at the exact precise time and delivered the exact thing. I mean, you guys ever had a Big Mac in New York versus Japan? It's the same freaking burger. It is identical. How the hell do you do that? It's systems. You know, so imagine, you know, you've got this scalable thing. You just buy another 50 for $200 and it's another $5,000 through the door. So you build a system of, how do I get 50 people a month? How do I either create an automated marketing campaign, or how do I create the sales process that I use to do it so I can hire someone just like Ray Kroc did, hand them a manual and say, I want you to do this. I want you to say these things. I want you to pause here. I want you to do this exactly as it is written. And they will get the same result as he did. Just like the guy flipping the burgers in Japan is the guy flipping the burgers in New York. If they do the exact same thing, they'll get the exact same result. So, I mean, when you're dealing with people, obviously there's some caveats to that. You know, you might have somebody that's a little abrasive that doesn't quite get the same results. Or you might have somebody that's, you know, a little too soft or a little too hard, and, you know, the edges just aren't right for the particular prospects. But, you know, a good salesperson can model. They can look and they can model, they can change, they can adapt to the situation, which is going to be part of the process. Any sales presentation that you create and it works, it should be adaptable, and you should know that. You should know that you can take this presentation into another group of people, and if this group of people is slightly different, you need to adapt it slightly to adjust. And a perfect example of that was when I was at Glazier Kennedy. I knew they had a bunch of chiropractors in the audience, so I used chiropractic examples. And there wasn't all chiropractors, though. There was a very broad mix. It was 2,000 different business owners. And I was kind of generic in a lot of my examples, but the one I did focus on was chiropractors because I knew they had a bunch of them. And I got my results out of it. I got decent results with that presentation. But a week later, I gave the same presentation to a much smaller group, much smaller audience, but it was all dentists. It's for the American Dental Association. And do you think I gave them chiropractic examples? No. I changed the examples to dentists. I used the Dentists American Medical Association magazine to pull my proof out of. I used their stuff. Very, very slight alterations to the presentation, but it converted at 43%, at a 43 conversion ratio, which is unheard of. It was far better than the 3% I had at Glazier Kennedy. But 3% at Glazier Kennedy got me to walk out the back door with $140,000 in sales. So it was not a problem. I was perfectly happy with that 3%. But imagine if I would have been in a room that big, that size, and knew exactly who the audience was and catered the presentation to it. Like, you know, you can do the math. If 3% got me $140,000, what would 43% have gotten me? I would have walked out the back door with millions of dollars. Would have been crazy. So, you know, again, it's all about the process. It's all about engineering the process. And you know, my whole point to this was that guy put me on that webinar this morning as a back end sale to his front end product was brilliant. It dovetailed so nicely because, like I said, he was selling a YouTube suite that all the people that he sold it to, their goal, their desire was to be able to take advantage of YouTube visitors to sell their products. Their problem was they didn't know how to make YouTube videos. They didn't know how to set them up. They didn't know how to optimize the YouTube channel. They didn't know how to do any of that. So he sold them a suite, a software suite that created the videos perfectly optimized for YouTube, did the keyword research, figured out the optimization for the page content for the YouTube videos, optimized the channel, and voila, their problem was solved. Now they could actually take advantage of YouTube traffic. Front end offer, end of story, completed the timeline. So what do they need next? You know, when you give a gorilla a cookie, he's gonna want milk, right? So that is where I came in. Now that you've got your YouTube videos, now that you know how to optimize them, now you know how to get them onto YouTube, now you want to flood those with traffic. And the only way you're going to do that is if you can get that video up to the top spot. That's where all the eyeballs are. That's where the game is played. Do you want to do that? That's create demand and desire. I'm now creating demand and desire for something they didn't even know existed. I eliminated objections because obviously the first objections they're going to have is this sounds black hat. So I eliminated that objection 100%. I eliminated the cost objection, showing them the value of it, what it's going to do if they don't get it, what it will do if they do have it, contrasted it. Again, eliminated the price objection by the contrast, and then made them an offer. Yeah, a simple no-brainer offer. Again, fulfilled a timeline. So I don't know what they're going to need next. The YouTube guy might, though, so he might pull in another guy behind me for another back-end offer. So the value really of understanding and knowing who your customers are, knowing their timelines, knowing what they're going to need next. The example that I always use is the pregnancy dress, the maternity dress. You know what that woman's going to need for the next 18 years, you know, and beyond. It's a no-brainer. All you have to do is find the back-end offers. You don't have to build them all. You just find them. How easy, the guy that created the YouTube suite, how easy was it for him to find me and just plug me in and make more money? He didn't have to do any more work. All he had to do was send out an email invite to the people that just purchased his product, hot buyers, and say, hey, I got a guy that can take your videos to the top. Now that you got videos, let's get them up. Let's get them seen. Let's get you some sales. Let me pass you off to the next wizard. Pretty easy for him to do that. He just multiplied his money. So all the money that he put out to create the prospect list, to generate those sales, he might have just broken even. I don't know how much it cost him to, to drive his traffic, to make his first sales funnel go and acquire those customers. I don't know those numbers, but let's say he just broke even on it and he acquired a bunch of new customers. I just came in and made him profitable. All the sales, all the money that I just handed him, now he's profitable. Now he's starting to build his lifetime value of all those customers that he just bought. Because that's what it is. You're buying customers. I don't care how you see it. You are buying customers. You either pay for ads, you pay for affiliate commissions, or you pay in your time of blood, sweat, and tears. But no matter how you slice it, you're buying customers with one currency or another. It's how much do they cost, how much are they worth, and what's their lifetime value. So you cannot run a business without basic numbers. And those are some of the numbers that you need to take into consideration. And like I mentioned earlier, the faster that you can get to profit, the more profit you can get to, and the bigger that you can scale it, the more successful that you'll be. So in order to do that, what I have really learned to do is look at everything from, I zoom out. I zoom out to the big picture. I try and get out of the details, because a lot of times we'll have something in our hands right in front of our face, and we just think it's awesome, and we think the whole world's going to want this, and we're not looking at it realistically. It's good to have some other eyeballs on it, and sometimes they're your own. You just have to zoom out, look at the whole picture, go back to the beginning and say, okay, what are the market segments? How many segments of different people does this product or service fit? And then you look in the buckets and you see where the money is. You probably all heard this, follow the money. Look in the buckets and see which bucket has the most profit. And you can do this with anything. The profit is going to lie in three different places. And there's three things. When I talk about profitable segments, I'm always talking about these same three things. The segment has to be big enough to justify your sales efforts. Like if you're going to get a 1% sales sell through or a 1/4%, there has to be enough people in the pot to make those numbers work. One of the things that I look at to be a really good factor is not only the size of the market, but the turnover of the market. Like I use diet as a perfect example. Diet has a high turnover of new prospects all the time. You've got certain trigger events throughout every year that is going to spawn new desire for diet. You got New Year's resolutions. It starts on January 1st. Everybody, if you look at sales and diet products, they spike on January 1st. It's a trigger. It's a trigger for new prospects that want to lose weight, right? You've got summertime for all kinds of reasons. You've got most graduations are at the beginning of summer. You've got swimsuit season. You've got high school reunions. A lot of stuff happens during the summer. So again, a big spark for that desire to lose weight. You've got another one right around the holiday time. Everybody wants to lose weight going into the holidays because they know they're going to pork out and they're going to get fat, right? So let's prepare. Let's empty out a hole to fill it up next month. But it's and sometimes it seems ridiculous. But when you're looking at markets and you're looking at opportunities, look at markets, from a profitability standpoint, is how many times a year is it flush with new prospects? Or is it stagnant? Is it the same old bucket? And you're going to hit the walls of the bucket real quick, and then they're not going to change. I don't like that kind of bucket. I like a bucket that's constantly filled with new water. I don't want my bucket to ever run dry. So look at your segments, look at the buckets. Which bucket has that characteristic? Which bucket is constantly getting refilled? Next, once you find the bucket that's full and overflowing, you got to look at two more aspects of this bucket. Is the people in the bucket what they want? Is there a big enough desire for them to actually pay for it? Right? If what they want isn't, if they don't want it bad enough to pay for it, then that bucket's got holes in it and it's going to leak out the water faster than you can fill it. The other thing is they might have the willingness to pay for it. They might want it that bad, but can they actually afford to pay for it? Those are your three things. Is the market big enough? Do they want it bad enough to pay for it? And can they afford to pay that much? Those are your three things. You should be always looking at those factors at the very beginning of any business decision that you make. Any marketing campaign that you create should be based on that analysis. It's the A in ACT. You've got to do the analysis first before you go into the creation mode. So, creating products before you do that analysis, it's like suicidal for business. It's business suicide. You might get lucky, it might work, but it probably won't be replicatable. It's only replicatable if you follow the recipe. Anybody can get lucky. Anybody can get lucky and bake a cake and just have everything fall into place. But can you bake the same cake? Can you make the same burger in Japan as you can in New York? That's the question. So, that's why all this stuff is so important. It's not like I just created a bunch of formulas and, there's a reason for every one of them. There's a reason why you look at the segment. If you look at any kind of real marketing, real business marketing, they will talk about segmenting markets. If you go through any kind of business education and they don't talk about market segmentation, you're in the wrong school. Because it's a key foundational factor is market segmentation. And some of them talk about it, but they don't tell you why. They don't explain it like what I do. It is really important. They don't talk about all the different factors and formulas that I've broken out. They just grease over it. And I think a lot of people don't get it. They don't get how important it is. So, but tell you what, if you miss the boat on that one, that can cause you a lot of pain and suffering in the following motion of your business creation or your marketing campaign creation. So, questions? Any comments? Where do you guys want me to? You want me to go in a different direction, or are we going good?
Don, are you willing to share who this expert you're supporting is?
The one I just did the webinar for?
Yeah.
Oh, let me see. I don't even really know him. He reached out to me and knew that I had this. His first name is Ben.
Ben.
And that's kind of embarrassing. I don't even know his last name. Just hooked up with him a week ago. He contacted me. One of my guys that has done promos for me before reached out and said, hey, Ben's going to contact you. He wants to do a webinar, wants to focus on YouTube. And I'm like, awesome. That's
There
all I
again,
need.
the importance of referrals.
Yeah. I'm like, awesome. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
I did not waste any time on the details. It was like, great. Let me give them the affiliate link, have them sign up to be an affiliate. I'll set the links up and off we go. There was literally no chit chat. We did this through Skype. I had never even heard this person's voice until this morning when he put me on the webinar and introduced me. I mean,
Once again, always being prepared.
Yeah, talk about ease of
Yeah.
access.
Yeah, great. Very good. Thank you.
So, and his product was called YouTube Suite. So, oh, his name
Yeah, I
is
got that. Thank you. Okay.
yeah, his I think his last name is Vivek. That's what it says in the Skype window here. Ben Vivek. So
It's not Ben Wyatt. You sure? Some of you will get who Ben Wyatt is.
you know, it on his Skype it says Ben/Vivek. Maybe Vivek's the business
Ben
name.
Wyatt was a TV character, John.
Oh,
For the geeks in the crowd who know Parks and Recreation.
there you go. I missed that one. Flew right over my head.
Right. That's like, you know, like all the games and stuff I do, I name everything after people from TV shows or something like that. Somebody's like trying to guess which TV show I'm into that week.
That's awesome. We do that too. We use the movie lines and then the other person has to figure out which movie it came out of.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, we play that game in our house constantly.
You know, I was when I worked for Starbucks, part of the training we did was a famous people game, and it was a name game that we played, and the objective behind it was teaching, and literally every manager, because I worked night shift running a shift manager, and every manager would have the people work a shift with me to do this game, and they had to keep working while they were doing the game and talking. But you stopped your hands, your turn, you lost your turn, you move on, right? And that's the way we played. Because at Starbucks, if you ever notice, Starbucks employees, a good one, can talk to you while making their drink.
Oh, yeah.
You had to be good at talking with customers and keep doing your task.
Yeah.
But Starbucks was a personal business, not just a coffee business. So,
oh man. Yeah, I would probably suck at that job. Like when I'm doing these, for instance, I can't read the chat and do these things. For some reason, it just will get me all screwed up.
well, Roger just put in there.
I did see Rogers. I'm your Huckleberry. I don't get that reference either.
Tombstone, Wyatt Earp.
Oh God, I'm out of touch with.
My whole objective, John, you talk about like people talk about cars and stuff they want. The only thing I want to buy in life is Wyatt Earp's gun. I will never shoot it. It'll be framed on the wall right there. But I'll say I own Wyatt Earp's gun. You know,
That's awesome.
I get the feeling, Twitter would be cheaper anyway.
Buying Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, buying Twitter would be cheaper.
That's classic. Oh, you know that's interesting. You said buying Twitter.
I would love your input on that. Yeah.
The hombre that bought Twitter, Mr. Elon. I just purchased his Starlink system and put it on my boat. And it was freaking awesome.
It works. It's live.
It is live. I'm getting 216 megabits per second download speeds on the boat at sea.
That is better than my Fios.
It's better than mine too.
What did this thing cost, man?
Okay, so I paid $550 for the unit. Now, if you were to buy a satellite unit for a boat, they're about $5,000 starting price. And then your service could be thousands of dollars per month to run it. So anyway, I bought Elon's dish. It was $550. There was something else. There was a couple of things that wound up being like $600 to the door, right? With the tax and the shipping, it was right about $600 delivered to my door. It was an amazing piece of equipment. It is, you open the box, it was absolutely beautiful. I mean, it was like Steve Jobs boxed this thing up himself. It was a beautiful box. It had the X on it and the Starlink. You knew damn well what it was. You open the box and there's just a big white sheet of cardboard with a big X on it. You know, the SpaceX X on it. You open it up and there's a stand. So two pieces. There's a stand and the unit that slips into the stand. There's a cord coming from the unit that plugs into the router and a plug that plugs into the wall. There's zero configuration. You plug it in and it works. You plug it in, it starts positioning, it grabs the satellite, it sticks to the satellite. If it loses the satellite, it finds another one. You don't have to do anything other than just plug it in. And you download the app, the Starlink app, you put a password in it for your Wi-Fi, and you start connecting your devices. And the download speeds were unreal. And I was going like all over the boat. I went out on the front of the boat, the back of the boat, up in the bridge, down in the cabins. It was freaking awesome. And
wow, that's cheap. That you can. If we live in the country, so we've always battled how to get some form of internet. And at one point, the only option was that HughesNet satellite stuff.
yeah.
And that
Well,
cost more than that, and that was a whopping, I think it was what, 500K or something. I mean, just
yeah.
absurd.
Yeah, unbelievable. It was just, I couldn't believe how easy it was. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. That's 217 meg download speed. I had to do a screen capture of it. I couldn't believe it. Like, holy shit. Oh, man. But just awesome. So now I can go and I can be at sea and I can communicate. I can do, my phone, voice over IP, phone service anywhere. What I was going to say is, if you want one of these things and you're land-based, I've been on the land-based waiting list for like 2 years to get a hold of one of these things. And I still haven't come up on the land-based. But what they just released an RV version. It's for recreational vehicles, and it's like to put on your RV. And it's available right now anywhere to anyone. And that's what I bought. So I'm like, hell with the waiting list. I'm buying the RV version. The only thing that's different about the RV version is they have roaming turned on, so it'll work anywhere. And they charge you an additional $35 a month for the roaming. So instead of $99 a month for the service at your house, I'm paying $134 for the boat, which is unbelievably cheap for communication at sea. And there's a couple of restrictions. I can only use it in other countries 3 months out of the year. So like if I go to Mexico, I got to be home in 3 months. I'm pretty good with that. The other thing is, since it's for an RV, right in the app, you can stop and start the service anytime you want, and it holds your billing. So like, let's say you got it on your RV and you're only RVing 1 week of the month. You're only paying for 1 week of the month. You're not paying the whole $135.
But what if you want to get the RV one and just set it up at your house? Can you
That's
do
what I'm saying.
that?
You can go online. You can go on to starlink.com right now, click on the RV tab, and you can order this thing and have it sent. And it was to my house in 3 days.
And this thing cost how much?
It was like $550 plus the tax and the shipping. So it was right about $600. And then it's $135 a month. And I didn't even have to contact him anything. I plugged the damn thing in and it worked. My account was set up. It was amazing. You talk about a good user experience. Holy
You have
shit.
seen the future.
Yeah. No kidding. This is it. I'm telling you right now, if I were an internet provider, I would be thinking like, oh shit, remember Blockbuster? I would not be investing in internet companies right now, providing internet services land-based. I would be dumping those investments at the speed of light.
Seems that it'd be a good reason to lobby having a whole bunch of government investigations of SpaceX to block launches. Oh, wait, they've already launched 3 investigations and they're blocking some of their launches. Huh. I'm sure
Wait.
it's not related.
Yeah. You know what else is interesting too? You talk about objections and overcoming objections. One of the biggest objections to the whole crypto market is what happens if the power grid goes down and you can't get to your money, right? That's one of the big objections that people are hesitant to move forward into the future of all of that stuff. And Elon just overcame the objection because all crypto lives on blockchain. Currently, the blockchain's all land-based, right? Well, all he has to do is put the nodes up on those SpaceX satellites, and now they're no longer land-based. They're no longer on the grid. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him come out with some kind of a little device that goes on your wrist that looks like a watch that communicates with those satellites. And now you're connected to his grid in the sky. So you have no need to worry about losing power, losing the grid, terrorist attacks on the grid, losing access to your crypto or, whatever is on the blockchain. Like Roger said, we just got a glimpse of the future. It's not coming, it's here. It's knocking on the door, just like Netflix was knocking on the door of Blockbuster. So, I mean, there is some awesome stuff to come.
With what you received, did that include a router or are you using your own router?
No, it had its own
Included
router.
everything.
Yep.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful looking piece of equipment. I mean, it looks like a piece of art.
And it needs to be, where did you mount it?
I just put it on the counter in the cabin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a piece of art.
What are the upload speeds?
The upload, it wasn't as impressive as the download, and I think that's because of the RV thing. Because I think if you get the home unit, they prioritize the home units, and I think they tout up and down the same speed. But on the RV unit, I don't think the upload speed wasn't anywhere close to the download speed, but it was still better than my internet service that I had on the boat by far.
Yeah. So it's what, like 5, 10, 20?
Yeah, I think it was in like the 20 to 30 range.
Still respectable.
Oh yeah. It wasn't 216 or 217, but definitely not anything to sneeze at.
Well, when you mentioned this, John, it's like, because we're in the process of getting this house sold and I don't know where I'm going to live. Like,
Yeah. Well, hell, you could take your internet service with you here.
Service with it, because like I'm looking at farms that are out, and I'm like, oh, I can just take it with me no matter which place I'm at.
Now, the only problem with the RV version of it is it doesn't like trees. And one of the biggest problems with like RV parks is usually you park your RV and it's, you know, it's surrounded by trees.
Again, I don't have an RV, but
Okay. And it was cool. I saw a YouTube video of an RV guy testing one of these things.
Mhm.
He put it on his RV and he's running the RV down the freeway at 80 miles an hour. And he's doing his checks and he's on Zoom and everything. And the service was absolutely flawless until he went under a bridge. Went under a bridge, and there was just for a fraction of a second, there was a glitch, and then it was right back connected. I mean, it was like a fraction of a second, just a glitch. I was like, holy shit, that is awesome. I'm going to go out. I think you guys probably saw my thing about this weekend. I'm doing that live event on the boat, and we're going to take the boat over to Catalina and anchor up and do a live seminar.
I didn't hear about it. What are you talking about? I
You
can't
didn't
get
get,
emails.
your email. Open your emails.
you didn't get the email on that one?
I got that email,
Let me double check.
and I never read my emails.
I still got a couple spots open. But
You got to bring the boat to Texas to pick me up, John. I'm done flying things. I don't want the flying thing anymore.
so here's the deal, basically, Roger. I bought, you remember last week or the week before, actually, I had this experience with my Google ad
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't get it right. Well, it was like Perry Belcher was listening in. So he sends me this offer with his new fill in the blanks copywriting thing. So I bought it. And the course is delivered through video training. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a handful of people on the boat this weekend, and we're going to watch his videos, discuss them, and learn from the best copywriter that I know of, which is Perry Belcher, and just do like a little live thing. And in the process, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to come out of this with a good ad to run and fix my faux pas. So, question, yes.
I know you're the man, but when I see a subject line that just says special announcement, that sounds like, oh, I have an affiliate thing you might be interested in or something. I would want to see something like
Especially
live on my boat or something. Scream at me. Tell me what it is, right in the subject line, and then I'll certainly read it. I totally just missed that.
See, I'm training you to read all my emails.
Yeah.
There's important shit in there. It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Don't ever tell Craig this, John, but I read your emails before I read Craig's. Don't tell Craig that.
Your secret's safe with me.
Because I make more money from you. That's why.
That's awesome. But yeah, so we're going to be out sitting on anchor at Catalina and be hooked up to the satellite, downloading Perry's videos and watching them live, or watching them streamed rather. And I'm hoping for an awesome experience with that. And I think I'm going to have it. I'm hoping so. Because that just, I mean, for me, that opens up a whole new world. Being connected like that out in the ocean. That means, don't tell anybody, but there's no reason for me to ever come home. We don't say that out loud.
That is the fear of my wife. If I've got an RV or a boat,
Oh
I
yeah.
would never come home.
Yeah. So anyway, cool, very, very cool stuff. And that will also open up, the doors to do a lot more events, because internet access is that was the big thing with boats is, how do you connect at sea? So
And now you
John-
got
John-
musky net.
John, did you get my email this morning about Terry?
I have not looked at any email yet today.
I opened your emails. I just told you, John. I opened your emails. You got to open one.
I will. The only reason I haven't even looked at email is because I got up. I literally woke up, finished my presentation, and hopped on.
Well, I think
Hopped on the webinar.
I'll see you and remind you. I think I closed it. I'll see you and remind you on the call today because I rushed back from something to get on this call today.
But I will check it out as soon as.
Yeah, because it's the web deal. We want to. You're the person we want to move forward with. So I'm going to just connect you with her and have you guys move forward with it, and we'll work out between you and me. However.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I just need to know if you want me to. If you want her to work with me, or if you want to be the reseller and it's your project and I just work for you.
But that's where you'd have to explain it to me. I was confused on how you explained that to me. So I didn't.
Okay.
I just explain how it works because to me it doesn't matter either way.
Yeah.
One way or another, you're going to pay me to make it listen to the customer. So it's like because you just got done saying pay to get the customer. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two ways that we work it. Like it could either be a referral where you just refer them to me and then you get a percentage, or there's the wholesale model where I sell it to you at a discounted rate and then you mark it up, you sell it to them for whatever you want. You can make more money doing that.
But then it revolves around me putting time in, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the two options. It's either white label resell of my services, and then they don't even know about me. They just deal directly with you, and then I do it for you, and you look like the superhero in the deal.
Let's have you don't have a private conversation because I may take the rest of the people who are coming to me, and we were going to do a company doing that anyway. So we may do a white label of you. So we'll talk.
Yeah. Either way, it's fine with me. I just need to know so I don't screw anything up for you.
Yeah, John, you're never going to screw it up. Trust me. The customer's going to come out winning. You're going to make money. I'm going to make money. Come on. It's just how much money, and there's more to be made.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I just like to, make sure everybody's on the same page and expectations are set and met and all of that.
That's it. I mean, that's why we're going to you because you have the solution. Literally, the customer's going to walk away happy, satisfied, all right, and you've got the solution. I'm just the person bringing them to you with the solution rather than me spend hours creating the solution when you have it already.
Yeah. No, that's people love that about a lot of the stuff that I offer. They don't want to have to figure it out. They don't want to have to build a team. They don't want to have to, sort through all the details and all that stuff. They just want to make money. Yeah. So Roger still looks bummed about missing the boat, but you got till Saturday morning to get on board. Oh man.
Michelle's tied up this weekend. We'll have to pass, unfortunately, but hopefully there'll be another soon.
Roger,
Copywriting's a good thing though.
Absolutely.
You gotta watch what you say to us because we don't know what to do. Untie her.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like,
She's right over here laughing her ass off.
I'm like, you could tie her and shackle her on the boat.
Handcuffs are portable.
I know she's in the background going, those two dirty old men, Tim and John.
I have equipment for that, Oh, that's classic.
Could even do a whole seminar on knot tying. It's very
Very
appropriate for boats.
Knot tying and blindfolding and the whole enchilada.
See, Roger, you look at that. You got an open audience. It kind of relates. They're on
a boat. Isn't that a captive audience?
Captive audience.
It is. That's awesome. Well, cool stuff. But yeah, we will be doing a lot more of those. This was just kind of a last minute oddball thing. I mean, Perry came across with that thing and I'm like, wow, this is like perfect timing. He read my mind of what I needed right now. And I haven't really even looked at him yet, but I've got his his little cheat sheets here. And this is a perfect example of changing a prospect to a customer. He sold there's 4 sheets, and he basically portrayed this as, this is the blueprint that I use to do all of my copywriting that I've used for the last 20 years. This is the formula that I follow every time I write copy. This is Perry Belcher talking, saying this. And, and he's putting this out. You talk about create demand and desire. Everybody wants to have his skill set of writing copy and converting and all that, right? It's like, who's going to not want that that's in the marketing world? So he is creating demand and desire for that. This is the unique mechanism, his little sheets here. So he's got the promise that you can be a great copywriter and convert just like him. The unique mechanism is this, this is what delivers the result, right? And he had a unique name for it too, that brought about, he called it the FIBS system. So you're like, what the hell is that? It brings up curiosity. Well, FIBS is simply fill in the blank system. So you pay the $7 to ship these things to you. It's a version of the book, free book, pay the shipping. So you pay the $7 and he ships these sheets to you, and you've placed your order, right? Your $7 is in. And before you even leave, it's, hey guys, you want to have me walk you through this for just $297? Like, fuck yeah, I do. I want to hear it right from the goat's mouth, So he sells you the whole video system. Now, he leaves it at that. He didn't do a whole bunch of upsells, which was refreshing. In today's age, it's absolutely refreshing to not get hit over the head over and over and over. Oh, what about this? What about that? You're not going to get results unless you get this little thing, which I just hate that shit. So he sold you the $7 thing. He upsold you to the $297 thing, and then he let you off the hook. Great experience. Then he follows up a couple of days later and with a personal invite that he's doing it live in Las Vegas. If you actually want to come out and bump shoulders with all of his, his cronies that he hangs out with and all that. I didn't take him up on the live event just because I'm not real wild about going to Vegas right now, but ordinarily I'd have been all over that, and that's a $497 to go to Vegas with him. Now I can almost assure you in Vegas, he's going to pitch you on a $2,000 to $10,000 private deal, private training or whatever. So that's his funnel. That's his funnel. That's how he takes a bunch of prospects. He separates the herd, changes a portion of them into customers, and then he creates lifetime value. And like to Richard's point, that lifetime value, he's going to compress that shit down into 3 months. He's not even going to wait out a year. He's going to build 3-month value cycle. And, he might get enough money out of those people in 3 months. He might not care about lifetime value. He might just swing the process again and start the whole thing over. Again, it's like whatever fills the bill for your business, but have a plan. My plan is always going to be lifetime value. And that's true for me. That's true financial freedom. The more people you bring in, I've been bringing people into my lifetime value for the majority of my life. I have people that are still with me after 20, 30 years, still providing income to me. I mean, the lifetime value for me is just off the hook. Even if I'm just doing the hosting for them for $20 a month, the fact that they're connected to me, paying me month after month after month, I'm top of mind for them for referrals because of that. Somebody will ask, hey, who hosts your website? Who do you think they're going to send them to? It's not just the lifetime value that they pay me, it's the lifetime value that they bring me with other people. Because when they're bringing me people, they're bringing me customers. They're not bringing me prospects. Almost every time I have a referral, it's not a prospect, it's a customer. It's like, I literally, I talk about being lazy all the time, and I probably really am, but it's because I've built the system where I can be. It fits me. I don't want to work. I mean, seriously, I don't mind it. I don't mind building systems and creating new stuff and putting my nose to the grindstone, but I don't want to work on a day-to-day basis. I don't think I'd be able to get out of bed if that's what was ahead for me. So it's all about, engineering your system, engineering, what you want out of life, what you want out of your business. And it's like, it comes true. I mean, look at what just happened, the thing with the webinar this morning. How hard was that for me to get a bunch of new customers? It doesn't get any easier than that. And it was just because I've positioned myself to take advantage of that kind of opportunity. It's like that whole thing with The Secret, think about shit and it'll just happen. There's some truth to that. And there's also, some misunderstanding of it. It's not just that it happens and stuff will fall into your lap out of the sky. It's because your awareness is looking for those opportunities now. So things start changing, things start presenting themselves to you. And it truly works. And it is a secret. Most people don't know about it. But it's not magic. It's not like you just, you think red Ferrari and it shows up in your driveway. It doesn't work that way. But if you really want a red Ferrari in your driveway and you really set your mind to it, there's two ways to get that red Ferrari in your driveway. And one of them, or actually there's one way to get it in your driveway, and there's another way to sabotage yourself so it'll never happen. And it's tasking your subconscious with the project. It's the job. The job of getting that Ferrari in your driveway is tasked to your subconscious in one of two ways. One way is, you could think about it as, what do I have to do to make this happen? And that programming is what will make it happen. Because you've just asked your subconscious computer to go to work to figure it out. The thing that will sabotage you is the thought of, why can't I have that? What's going to prevent me? And guess what? You just tasked your subconscious, the most powerful source you have, to figure out every reason why not, instead of trying to figure out how to. It's just that simple. That is the basis, and that's the inner workings of The Secret right there. I don't know that they really explain that properly, but your subconscious is ultra powerful. I don't think any of us have any idea how powerful it really is, but it's at your disposal to do with what you want. And the thing that's most misunderstood, I think, is the way to use it. You have to task it properly. You have to ask it the right questions. If you want the right answers, you need to ask the right questions of it. So asking yourself, what do I have to do to get that Ferrari in my driveway? It's going to go to work. It's going to say, okay, you need this many dollars. Okay, what do we have to get that many dollars? It's going to work its ass off while you sleep to figure it out. And in the back of your mind, it's going to be giving you things to look at, things that you wouldn't have noticed before. That's what makes it happen. That's how they say the stuff magically shows up. It's not like it wasn't there. It's just you didn't see it. Your subconscious is actively looking now for the things that are going to put that Ferrari in your driveway. And that might sound hocus pocus. It might sound like just a big load of shit, but I've seen it in my life happen over and over and over. You know, I've got a big old floating toy out there that I'm sitting on because I ask myself, what do I have to do to make this happen? Not what is going to get in my way. Why should I not have that thing? I can almost guarantee if I'd asked those questions, I wouldn't have it. Because there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't have a boat. Right? But there's only
John, most people do not understand that the mind does not understand negatives. You
yeah.
say, don't forget. People will forget. You always want to say, remember.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really interesting the way that the brain works and how you are in control of it, but most people don't know how to control it. And you know, it shows itself. Most people don't know how to control themselves. And
John, RV is not available in Dallas, Texas yet.
I'll just have it shipped to my house. I'll ship it to you.
Yeah, well, no, it's yeah. I don't know if it's available, but they're showing that area. It's not available. Like over 3/4 of Texas, it's not available
For the RV model?
RV model.
Interesting. Huh.
I was just about to buy it, and it said no, Texas not available.
It might be a Texas thing.
Texas on wait. So now I'm wondering if I got it and brought it to Texas, if I shipped it to you and got it.
Oh, I bet you it would. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, he's got satellites up all over the world.
To me, the satellite should connect. I just wonder if it's a shipping issue or if it's satellite connection issue.
You know, I'm not really.
Or a license issue.
It might be, you know, there's probably a lot of stuff at play there.
License issue. I mean, let's face it. All right. Texas is all about how we make the money. So
maybe it's odd though that I would be able to get it in California, because usually California is like, you know.
No. And when it comes to technology, a lot of stuff comes to California first.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you're right there.
We just have guns first here in Texas.
Well, I'll trade you guns for satellite dishes. How's that?
I'm sorry. I can't admit anymore that I have guns, apparently. Some of you all I will tell you later, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, anything else before we wrap up here?
I will. Are you available this afternoon for a quick phone call or no?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I'll call you what rate we're off of this.
If you do it between now and the next hour and a half, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't think this will take 30 minutes of your time. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably pretty quick. All right, guys. Well, hey, another great session. You just never know where these things are going to go and what's going to come out of them.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just saw, you noticed from PayPal, they got the courts to tie everybody to the arbitration clauses.
Yep. They the lawsuit, the attorney firm that was trying to set up the class action actually got denied for the class action. And I think it was because everybody has to agree to arbitration. So, that kind of throws a wrench in the works, because we can't all piggyback on and do it the easy way. But if their arbitration goes through and they get awarded, that might set some precedents for everybody to have a slam dunk against them.
Yeah, but I've been down arbitration road before. The problem is that PayPal hires and pays the arbitrators, and the arbitrators are always biased to the company who hires them.
Yeah.
So that's already skewed. So I'm forwarding your message to the representative that we've been talking about, my Senate district, California.
Yeah.
He won his primary, so he's now going to the judge. He's going to November, and he looks good that he should get it the next 4 years. So
Awesome.
I'm forwarding your message to his communication director, because this was on their back burner until the primary was over. The primary's done now. So
Yeah,
between now and
yeah.
November, he's mine.
That's awesome.
All
But
right.
yeah, these guys, they're so corrupt. It's unbelievable. I mean, they've done this to so many business owners. It's just crazy. It's criminal. It's a criminal activity. And they get away with it. You
The,
know,
o- the only way it's being with the number of people, it could come under the racketeering laws because of
Yeah.
the very fact of the number of people that are involved and the process and the methodology is consistent. So
Mhm.
therefore, it's racketeering because it is a consistent setup.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. So
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm passing it on to my man, and we'll see what transpires next. What time is the boat leaving on Saturday?
oh,
Dockside.
probably about 6 a.m.
Really? What time you plan to be back?
And we'll be back Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Oh, Sunday. Oh, it's an overnighter.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'll have to pass. The wife just got back
Normally I'd
on
say
Monday.
it's up at 6 a.m., but you're Western time. So like if I was there, it would be easy because that's 8 o'clock my time.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I figure it's about a 3-hour cross to get over to Catalina. So we want plenty of time to actually do the training. So that'll put us at the island at 9 o'clock. And
Careful
Yeah.
about those 3-hour tours, guys. I'm just saying. There was a show made about that.
yeah.
All right, I'll have to pass. His wife just got back from Japan on Monday, and she's on the warpath about the house. So
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Uh-oh. So
Hey, 2 quick questions if I can. The first is, a couple dropped off, darn. Which would be more motivating? John was saying, put that Ferrari in the driveway. Would you aspire more to, let's say you won a sales award, would you prefer a Ferrari or a Lamborghini? Looking for as many responses as I can get.
I don't actually know the difference between
Shell
the
is
two.
neither the Lamborghini nor the Ferrari. I'm just saying.
It's one or the other.
She is a Maserati to me.
Yep, but between the two.
But I wanted an Aston Martin.
Your choices are a Lamborghini or a Ferrari.
I'm
I don't
gonna
know.
give you the
I'll take the
Ferrari. I'll give you a Ferrari.
I've driven them both. I'll take the cash.
It's a Lamborghini or a Ferrari,
Oh,
physically.
okay. Well,
Any-
I'm giving mine away, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Which one would you prefer to take a photo next to before you gave it away? This is a tough crowd. This is a mastermind, right? Where we all give our input. Come
You
on.
got 2
Simple
Ferraris so
question.
far.
Who was the second?
Jeffrey,
Ah,
Mr. Jeffrey.
got it.
I'd probably say Ferrari too.
All right.
3. So you're
Jared,
Got it.
Gregory said there in the Ferrari in the chat. So
so
Got it.
4. I think Ferraris have it.
Yep. Okay. And then second question, what are your weekend attendees doing for meals?
I'm providing.
Got it. All right, cool.
So I'm asking everybody. I need to start working this like below deck and have a preference sheet.
Yes.
so I know what everybody wants.
Are you kidding? They'll skip the meals and take the cash.
There's Tim.
Oh, but I have everything on board. I've got a barbecue. I've got an oven, microwave, stovetop. We can make anything.
Make them work for it. You got to catch if you're going to eat.
Yeah, that's some
I've
of them.
done that. That's a more fun boat experience.
That would be an adventure CEO trip.
Yes, that sounds to me like the guy who has a venture CEO should book that with him.
Yeah. But I've got one on this trip.
If you'd like, John, I'll broker the deal. I know the guy from Adventure CEO. I can, you know what I mean? I can whitelist the deal for you.
I've got one here that doesn't like fish, so we're gonna have to go non-fish for at least this trip.
Oh.
But
That's a good call this week.
And I do cook fairly well. I did not get this big not knowing how to cook. So we did one a couple weeks ago. We did a little weekender mastermind trip for someone else's group. So it wasn't my group. I just drove them out, anchored, made them food, and had a great time. And they all loved the cooking. That's for sure. So it's good stuff.
Cool.
Coming back to Starlink,
Huh?
coming back to Starlink,
Yeah.
I was looking at, after Tim mentioned the availability, I'm looking at their map on their website where they say it's
Yeah.
available, not available. So does that
Yeah.
mean the Starlink service or the RV service?
Well, there's a tab for RV.
Yeah, it's the tab.
Yeah.
I found it. That was the RV tab. When I went to type in my address. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was pulling the credit card out. John had
Yeah.
it sold. He could have made it. He should have given me his affiliate link. He would have had it.
So I haven't even really looked to see if they have an affiliate yet. I'm sure they probably do, but once I get some real live data this weekend, I'll definitely have something to boast about, I think. But yeah, I've actually been on the waiting list for the land-based unit for almost 2 years now,
Wow.
and my number has not come up yet. And as soon as I got the boat, I knew I was going to want one. So I got on the list. I figured I'd get it for the house and I'd just take it to the boat. But then I saw the RV option and put my address in, and boom, available. And it was like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. But very, very cool. Very impressive so far. I mean, the install, the setup, the look, the feel, everything is just really, really sweet. So.
I'm listening. I'm still playing with their website. Okay, because
Jeff's trying to work out.
I did what Tim did.
To sell
Well,
it.
I'm curious. I have an inquiring mind. But that map is for Starlink availability, not just for the RV service.
Yes, that's correct.
Because it's
And-
showing most of Los Angeles County, it's not available.
Yeah, that's probably why California is last. Basically, what they're doing, their goal is to provide service to remote areas first, because they figure if you're in the city, you've got cable access. So they're not really focused on them. So they are doing remote access first. That's why the availability, that's why I've been on the waiting list, since I've had the boat. But I don't believe for a second that means that the service only works in those areas.
Well, after this weekend, when you have it out to sea, you'll be able to tell.
Yeah, I will for sure be able to tell.
Because it shows the service being available in
And the reason that I
in the
know,
harbors and on the water in Santa Monica, but the rest of LA County is blacked out.
yeah, well, the reason that I know about this to begin with is I was on a Facebook group that is called Starlink for Boats. And there's been people that have been testing and playing with this for boats, because Starlink has never touted the availability or the use on boats. But so far, everybody in this group that's done it and tried it and tested it say it just works like magic.
Well, if there's, find out, John, if there's anybody in that group who has boats here in Dallas, is Lake Louisville or Lake Dallas. All right. See if anybody in that group has them on their boat on those lakes. Because I know people who live on their boats on those lakes.
Yeah, there's a lot of these users are in the Florida and the Gulf area.
Yeah.
So I don't know about lakes.
Well, you get down to the Gulf, it may be, but like here in Dallas area, there's, like I said, Louisville Lake, which is Dallas Lake, that lake there's people who live on their boats on that lake.
Yeah.
That's,
Well,
that's cool.
I gotta think, the satellites are up. I gotta think if you got a clear view of the sky, you're gonna get a signal.
I would think so.
Right.
And that's what they say on the RV. They say, as you're traveling, you're gonna get, it's gonna work. I think it's just the availability of equipment to certain areas that are popular or, densely populated. They want to service the remote communities first. That is what I believe. And the only reason I knew about the RV thing was one of the guys on the chat in the Facebook group. He said, yeah, they're available right now for RV use, and it's the same identical unit. So I'm like, oh, okay, let's check that out. So the only difference is it's got roaming turned on. So you can actually move around and get the signal wherever you are. And they do say that if you're in an area that is already being served, that you get the leftover remnants. So you might not get the highest speeds available if you're in an area that is already being served. So they're prioritizing things as they roll this out. Eventually, I think they're going to have enough satellite coverage that it won't be an issue. But for now, it's basically an issue of who can get a hold of the units. I don't think there's any issue at all of the connectivity, and I'll know more about that this weekend. So, but cool stuff. Who would have thought Starlink would have been that popular of a topic on here?
Yep.
But cool. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap her up for this week. I will be back on next week, and we will see you then. I might be at sea next week on the call.
Very cool.
We shall see about the sea.
We shall see.
All right, guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.